and welcome back to Kim Reads to continue with Wicked, Chapter 6 of The Murder in Its Afterlife. Shiz was a money factory now. The colleges, occupying an historic district, remained largely unchanged, but for some contemporary dormitories and flashy athletic buildings. Outside the university district, however, Shiz had thrived in the war-alert economy. A huge monument in brass and marble, the spirit of the empire, dominated what was left of Railway Square, and the air and light around it was cut off by the hulking industrial buildings, spewing black columns of filth into the air. The bluestone was now grindstone. The air itself seemed to be earnest, and the 10,000 exhalations of a city panting every second to increase the well. The trees were shriveled and gray, and not a single animal in sight. Crage Hall looked absurdly older and newer at once. The witch chose not to bother with the porter and flew herself out the wall onto the kitchen garden where once Bach had tumbled off the adjoining roof, almost into her lap. The back lawn beyond the orchard was gone. In its place stood a stone structure. Above was gleaming side doors was carved the Chuffrey and Lady Glinda Conservatory of Music and the Theatrical Arts. The three girls came hurrying down the path, chatting away, their books clutched to their bosoms. They gave the witch a start, as if they were ghosts of Nessa Rose, Glinda, and herself. She was told to hold on to her broomstick and steady herself. She had not taken in how far she had come, how much she had aged. I need to see the head, she said, startling them. But one recovered her youthful abloom and pointed the way. The head's office was still in Main Hall. You'll find her in, they said. She always is at this hour of the morning, having tea by herself or with contributors. Security must be greatly relaxed if none of them questions my being in the kitchen garden, thought the witch. All the better. I may even escape unstopped. The head had a secretary now, a plump older gentleman with a goatee. She's not expecting you, he said. I'll see if she's free. He returned and said, Madam Head will be seeing you now. Would you like to leave your broom in the umbrella stand? How kind. No thanks, said the witch, and she walked in. The head rose from a leather armchair. She wasn't Madame Morrrible anymore. She was a small, pinky white one with copper-colored curls and an energetic manner. I didn't catch your name, she said. You're an old girl, but I'm a new one. She laughed at her own witticism, but the witch did not. And I'm afraid I haven't yet grasped the truth. Dozens of old girls come back every month to relive the pleasant moments of their growing up here. Please may I have your name and I'll call for some tea. With some effort, the witch said, I was called Miss Elphaba when I was here, more years ago than I realized could be possible. In fact, I won't take tea. I can't stay long. I was misinformed. I was hoping to see Madame Morrrible. Do you know of her whereabouts? Well, is this good luck or bad? Said the current head. Up till very recently, she spent every semester in the Emerald City, consulting with His Highness himself on education policies through Loyal Oz, but she's recently returned to her retirement apartment in the Daughtery. I'm sorry, that's a joke of the girls, and it slipped out. It is called the Daughter Building, really, as it was financed by the generous daughters of the Crage Hall, our alums. You see, her health has deteriorated, though I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings. I fear she is very near the end. I would love to pop in and say hello, said the witch. Play acting had never suited her, and it was because the new head was so young, such a fool, such a girl herself, and the witch could get away with it. I was a great favorite of hers, you know. It would be a wonderful surprise. I'll call Grommatic to take you there, said the head, but I should ask Madame Morrrible's nurse if she's up for a visit. Don't call Grommatic. I can find my own way. I will chat with the nurse, and I will stop for a moment. Then I'll come back here before I leave. I promise, and perhaps my way is clear to making a contribution toward the annual fund, or some little endowment driving you must be mounting at present. To the best of her recollection, she had never lied before in her life. The Daughtery was a broad, round tower, like a squat silo sitting adjacent to the chapel in which Dr. Dillman had been eulogized. A scout passing by buckets and brooms told the witch that Madame Morrrible was the one flight up behind the doors with the wizard standard mounting on it. A minute later, that witch stood looking at the wizard's standard, a balloon with a basket beneath it commemorating his spectacular arrival in the Emerald City, and crossed swords below. From a few feet away, it looked like a huge skull, and the basket a leering jaw, and the cross swords a forbidding X. The doorknob turned under her rug, and she entered her apartment. There were several rooms, all cluttered with school memorabilia and tokens of esteem from various Emerald City institutions, including the Palace of the Emperor. The witch passed through some sort of parlor with a fire burning in it, despite the warmth of the season, a kitchen scullery area. To one side, it was a water closet, and the witch could hear the sound of someone sobbing inside and the blow of a nose. The witch pushed against the door and continued on to a sleeping slumber. Madame Morrrible was propped halfway in the huge bed shaped like a phoenix. A carved gold phoenix neck and head emerged from the headboard, and the sides of the bed simulated the bird's wings. Its feet joined at the footboard. The idea of its tail feathers had apparently defeated the ingenuity of the cabinet maker, and therefore there weren't any. It was a bird in an awkward position, actually, as if being blown through the air by gunshot, as if laboring by a human way to deliver itself of the great mound of flesh sitting on its stomach and reclining against its breast. On the floor was a pile of financial papers. An old-fashioned pair of spectacles was set on top of them. But for the time, reading was past. Madame Morrrible rested in a gray mound, her hands folded upon her belly, and her eyes open and shallow, without motion. She was still like a mammoth carp. All but the fishy smell. A candle had been so recently lit that the stink of the matches' sulfur still lingered in the room. The witch pulled out her broom. From the moment she came, a pound on the door of the water closet. "Do you think you could always be safe by hiding behind school children?" said the witch, beyond herself, beyond caring, and she raised her broom. But Madame Morrrible made a sluggish, indifferent corpse. The witch struck Madame Morrrible with the flat of her broom. On the side of the head and face, it made no mark. Then the witch searched the mantelpiece for the testimonial with the biggest marble base, and she blasted Madame Morrrible's skull with it, with a sound like hitting a firewood. She lifted the old woman's arm. Its statement could be read all by the carved phoenix, who would be looking upside down. "In appreciation of everything you've done," it said. And that's the end of that chapter.